I do not believe that CBD cures autism. And you say, hold up, say what? Amber, you give your autistic, nonverbal twin boys CBD. What the heck? What are you saying? Stick around and I'll tell you what I think. Hey Ellis FamLifers, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is Ellis FamLife, #AutisticTwins, where we like to do three things. We want to raise awareness and acceptance for nonverbal autism, relate to you as the autistic person or as the caregiver of an autistic loved one, and three, educate by sharing examples and stories of our life with nonverbal autistic twins, Alex and Will. Okay, so if you were completely nonplussed by that opening statement of, I don't think that CBD cures autism, then let me tell you a couple of things in this video and also give you an update on how the twins are doing with CBD. The first thing I need to tell you is that YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all of those big social media platforms do not like it when you use their platform to make claims such as CBD cures autism, or CBD cures chronic pain, or epilepsy, or seizures, or anxiety. All of those things. I have to be really careful how I say, hey, we use CBD and this is how it works for us. I can't make any kind of dogmatic claim because CBD has not been researched enough at this point in our lives, at this point in history, for us to make these kind of claims. Now, I think that in probably a couple of 100 years, we'll know so much more about CBD, just like we'll know so much more about mental health, and it just takes time to learn these things. So, in the meantime, based on the research that I had read so far and all of the anecdotal evidence that I had found, I felt like it was worth the risk to give it to my nonverbal autistic twin boys. If you look at our lives the way they were before we started CBD, we were miserable. If there was even the tiniest hope that CBD would help their symptoms, even if it didn't cure them, I was willing to try it based on what I had read and seen and how effective it looked like it would be. So when I get on YouTube or when I make these videos, I can't say CBD cures autism, or CBD will help your nonverbal autistic child talk, or CBD will help your autistic child with their meltdowns or insomnia, or, you know, fill in the blank. I can tell you how it's helped us. And when I tell you how it's helped us, I can say, we use CBD, we've used it for the last 18 months, and we've seen an increase in their cognitive abilities, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I can tell you the things that we've seen, and that is anecdotal evidence. So mostly what you're going to see on YouTube or any other social media platform is anecdotal evidence. That's completely fine. But I cannot make claims saying, hey, CBD cures our autism. CBD will help your kid cure their autism, because that's false. I don't know that for sure, and I'm only giving you what we personally have experienced at Ellis FamLife. I have to be very careful how I say, hey, I think CBD might be able to help fill in the blank. So I just tell you how it's helped us, and I tell you how we do it with the boys and what those results look like. And I tell you all of the different trial and error things that we've done to kind of settle on the CBD that we use now. And it was expensive, and it was a lot of trial and error to figure out what we should give the boys. And so I took a lot of the guesswork out. I wanted to be an affiliate, and it helped us so much. Maybe I could start doing this to help make a living. I might as well. I've already done all of this legwork trying to figure out CBD. I thought, I've got to help people, because there have got to be other people in the world like us who need it for their autistic loved one. So, number one, I can't make medical claims. I can only tell you what CBD has done for us personally at Ellis FamLife. Number two, I thought CBD was the miracle cure. I thought that it would cure my children's autism. I thought that they would magically start talking. And I thought that it would turn them into normal human beings, because I was holding on to a dream. And 18 months later, after starting CBD, it does not cure their autism. Now, I think that it does help alleviate the symptoms. And here is where I jump into the update. They're not talking yet, but they're vocalizing more. And you can tell when you call their name or when you're looking at them or talking to them, almost all of the time, the fog is gone and they're looking at you and understanding what you say. For example, the other day I was in the kitchen, standing at the refrigerator, and Will was standing on the couch facing me. He was melting down and he was frustrated. I could tell he was frustrated because I didn't understand what he was trying to tell me, because of course he's not using words. I opened the refrigerator door and I was so frustrated and I said, "What? Do you want yogurt?" Because I was just going to go down the list: eat, sleep, poop, drink, all the things. And he pointedly looked at me and shook his head no. And I was like, okay. Well, do you want Fruit Loops? Because that's the other thing that he likes. And he gave me a very pointed yes. And I was like, why didn't you just tell me? All you have to do is walk to the cabinet and touch the cabinet, and I'll know that you want something. Anyway, I was so frustrated, but it was, you know, just a frustrating moment. And so we went to the cabinet, we got the cereal, the spoon, the bowl, all the things, set it up at the table, and I sat down with him. And then here comes the climax of the story. He eats about half of his food and he's still fussing. And he reaches down and picks up his foot and holds his foot up for me to see. And he has a big blister on the bottom of his right big toe. He was trying to tell me that his toe was hurting. Oh my goodness, y'all. All of that. It was probably a 15-minute exchange trying to figure out what this child is trying to tell me. And first we go through the food, and then we set the food up, and then he eats, but he's still fussy. And finally we nail it down. He is trying to tell me that he's got a blister on his toe and it hurts. So anyway, I got a Band-Aid, and of course I put the Band-Aid on and he immediately ripped it off. So anyway, we finally reached that moment, and it's kind of funny. It's so like, I mean, I think normal people are like, wait, what? That is awful that you can't figure out, you know, whatever. And it's really not. They find ways to communicate even without talking. I thought that CBD was going to cure their nonverbalness, and I thought that they would learn how to talk, and we would be able to have two-way conversations in the English language. And it hasn't happened. But I'll tell you what has happened is the fog is cleared. They're making eye contact when they weren't before. And the other thing is Will can articulate certain sounds to let you know what the words are. So he's on the very brink of talking. I've caught several examples on video. I don't know how far it will develop, but I hope that it will develop well. But he loves patty cake. And so you'll see in these little clips, there's the patty cake with his hands, and then he makes the sound of the words basically without the consonants. He mostly does the vowel sounds, but it's very distinct. Ba, ba, ba. He's trying to say patty cake, and then he prompts us through the rest of the exercise because we're making him ask us to do it. But you can see he completely understands what he's doing, and it's a game to him, and he loves it. Now, developmentally, I don't think that's on par with a 5-year-old. I think that's probably on par with maybe a 2 or 3-year-old. But it's still progress, and it's still something that we didn't see 18 months ago. Roll up. Roll up. Throw the bed. All right, you ready? Ready? Patty cake, baker's man. Roll 'em up. Roll 'em up. Throw 'em at the bed. Yay! Thank you, Frankie. Patty cake, baker's man. Roll 'em up. They're also doing really well in school, and I get fun notes from the teachers almost every day saying they did really good with the iPad today. They did good with whatever station they were at for the day, and they are in an ABA kindergarten. We are very fortunate and blessed to be in a school district that provides ABA services for free as part of the Board of Education's providence for our county. So we're very fortunate to be where we are, and I feel like it's providential. Alex is not quite as far along with talking. He does understand, and he will, will give me yes and no a lot of the time. And I'll even say things like I'll just say like conversational things like, well, did you have fun today at school? And what did y'all do at school? And he'll go, or I'll say, do you need a diaper change? Is it time to go change your diaper? And I'm just like a running monologue, and he's like, no, I don't need a diaper change. I'm good. And I can tell that's what he's saying. And so Alex doesn't really, he's not trying as hard, but he loves it for us to talk to him, especially his name and family name. So one day I just sat on the couch and started sounding out his name. And here's a little clip. Frankie caught it on video for me, and it's really good. He loved it.
With Will, Mom, Dad, Frankie, Steven, Alex, Will, Mom, Dad, Frankie, Steven, Alex, Will, Mom, Dad, Frankie, Steve.
And I think that is the very beginning of language learning. Now, do I think that they're going to learn how to talk by the time they're grown-ups? I don't know. I hope so. I really hope so. I hope and pray so. And I think that we're doing everything we can to encourage them to talk. But I don't know that it's going to happen. We just have to keep doing what we're doing, and if it happens, great, and set up high expectations and then make it as far as we can. And then, constantly evaluating, setting up a plan or a strategy, and then re-evaluating, and then changing the plan or strategy, and then doing it again. You do that in all of life. And raising nonverbal autistic children is no different. A couple of other things that they're doing really well with CBD is the insomnia is so much better. I don't know what it is about autistic children, but they will be up for 3 or 4 hours in the middle of the night to play or to cry, or I don't know what it has to do with the brain chemistry being different, but they do not sleep normal. And almost every single autism parent I have ever met or talked to or connected with, we're all the same. Sleep is a luxury that most of us don't get on a regular basis. Before we started CBD, the boys were probably up 3 or 4 times a week in the middle of the night, and the worst times they would be up for 4 hours straight. So after CBD, that calmed down considerably, and we only have this problem maybe once a month. And it usually happens around a routine change like daylight savings time change, or a break in routine like Christmas vacation from school where we're home for 2 or 3 weeks at a time with a less established routine. So sleep is better. Meltdowns are almost non-existent. Now, we got Will's teeth fixed. We knew he was in pain. We figured out Will has sensory issues with hearing, so hearing loud noises, almost any noise is painful to him, and he walks around with headphones on most of the day. And the CBD, I think the CBD helped. I think that they're growing developmentally, they're older, and their personalities are kind of coming out, and they're kind of settling down, and there's not as many like toddler tantrums. But another component I think is the CBD helping with their meltdowns. Instead of meltdowns all day, every day, anytime something doesn't go their way, they're more easily redirected. Like if they can't have their way or something's not going right, it's easier to redirect them and distract them from the problem and they'll go a different way and just do something different. It's so much, life is so much easier. So, and that has, I've also seen that in the last 18 months since we started CBD. So, nutshell, I don't think CBD cures autism. I don't think it cures autism because look at us 18 months later. My children are still nonverbal autistic. But I think that CBD helps. I think it's a lot of factors together. I think it's developmental. Their personalities are settling down and they're growing and maturing. I think that it's great therapy at school with all of the ABA, speech, and OT that they get. I think it's CBD, and I think it's a loving environment, and we all like each other at home. We all get along, and the big boys help the little boys, and the little boys are very endearing and sweet and funny and cute, and we like them a lot. We love them. And so out of the 6 of us, we like being home and we like being around each other. For the most part, we get tired and cranky sometimes, but we like being around each other. So I think that a major component of the boys' development is just being in a safe, loving, happy environment. So, and I think we're trying very hard to create that for them, and we have a lot of fun. Life is very stressful, and life is going to be stressful until we die. But I think it's also good. So anyway, all of that to say, I don't make medical claims. I can only tell you what the twins are doing now with CBD. As a little aside, physically, they are 35 to 40 pounds. We give them 15 milligrams in the morning daily, usually with food, sometimes without food, and then we give it again in the afternoon if they get home and they're especially overstimulated and cranky and melting down. We'll do another dose for whichever one needs it, or both. And I don't think that CBD cures autism, but I think it's helped their cognitive, they're starting to respond even non-verbally. They're starting to make eye contact. They've been progressively making better eye contact. Now I'm getting some nods and shakes of head. I'm getting some trying to talk, and I'm getting way fewer meltdowns, and we're getting better sleep. So there's so many other things I could say about CBD, but those are the big things. So it doesn't cure autism, but it certainly helps. So if you're interested in knowing more about CBD, we of course are affiliates for a couple of different companies because we've settled on, after 18 months of trial and error, we've settled on some really good oils that we found. And of course my links are listed below if you're interested in clicking through any of those. And of course, if you click through any of those links and decide to buy, it will help us. It will help, you know, pay for more CBD for the twins, and it'll help get me home more often and less time at work and more time at home. So anytime you click through that link and buy it, we absolutely appreciate it. And we also have a CBD Facebook page, Ellis FamLife #AutisticTwins CBD VIP. Go and search it on Facebook and send me a join request, and I can add you to the group. And I like to post like articles and things about CBD, and then coupon codes, and sometimes I focus on a particular brand that we use or that we've liked to use in the past. If you learned something from this video or it made you think, be sure to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Ring the bell for notifications. I generally release a video once a week, normally on Saturdays. And like, share, leave me a comment. Have you had success with CBD and your autistic kid or your autistic loved one? Are you autistic yourself and you've tried CBD and it's kind of helped calm down some of your maybe like sensory overload symptoms or your stimming or whatever? Let me know in the comments. Tell me your story. Has it helped? Did you try it and it didn't help? Do you think that you didn't take enough? Did you take too much? Everybody's different. Everybody metabolizes differently. So let me know what you think. Like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. Follow us on social media. On Facebook, we're Ellis FamLife #AutisticTwins, and at Instagram, EllisFamLife _AutisticTwins. And I like to post things that don't necessarily make it to a video, daily life things. And thank you all for watching. I'm so excited. We've made it over 1,000 subscribers, and the channel is nicely tripping along and doing well, and we're gaining new viewers and subscribers every day, and I love hearing from all of you. And leave me comments, and I will do my best to answer every single comment. I just like to hear your stories. I love, love, love to hear your stories, whether they're negative or positive or sad or funny or encouraging or just you need to vent. It's fine. Just tell me your story in the comments below. And I thank you all for watching. And as always, I look forward to next time.